Hi everyone, it's James here. I'm super thrilled to be able to talk to you. I wish I could be there in person. I am the CEO of Skin Query and the co-creator of the Keralase procedure and the Keralase products and the Kerafactor MD products. And I'd like to give you a little bit of information about how we came up with this procedure, why it's so unique, and let's get right into it. So one of the things that's great about the Laser MD Ultra is its flexibility. And 1927 as a wavelength is a very, very good wavelength to be able to destabilize just the epidermis. Now, of course, you can do much more. You can go into the dermis, but we looked at this idea of using it as a topical delivery mechanism. Now, a lot of people already use their Ultra as a topical delivery mechanism for, say, the treatment of melasma. People use it with topical transexamic acid and other retinols and things like that. But what we wanted to do was take that basic concept and bring it over to the scalp, because the scalp is skin too. And for people who are losing their hair, it's very important to understand that if you repair the scalp, if you put growth factors in the scalp, if you are able to increase the circulation in the scalp, you will start to improve the thickness, the number of hairs per follicle that grow in. Now, here's the beautiful thing about the Ultra, is this epidermal destabilization without inflammation. And this is a critical part of the Keralase procedure. It's basically using the Ultra at very low energy, around 3 to 5 millijoules, and you're just making a little bit of destabilization at that epidermal area, and you can see that there's not a lot of inflammation created in the DE junction. And it's really important that there's not a big impact on the dermis, because the last thing you want to do when you have somebody who has poor hair health, you know that they have poor circulation. They're one and the same. They go together. So what you want to make sure is that you just destabilize the epidermis, because that's the zone where we want to deliver the product. And we don't want to damage the dermis of the scalp, because we don't want to create any type of microscarring because of the inability for the skin to heal correctly. So we make this little destabilization just as much as we would do on the face if we wanted to treat other conditions or use topical delivery mechanisms. And you notice here this absorption factor that you get. So you get anywhere between 5 and 7 times absorption of whatever you put down on the skin if it's got a good encapsulation, and you're going to get that into the skin or into the scalp. Scalp is skin too. So what about the Kerafactor MD and what makes this unique? Well, first of all, we designed this specifically to be used with 1927, the actual Ultra injury that I just showed you on the last slide. And the important aspect of this here is that we have these like little nano blobs or little nano balloons that carry very highly concentrated growth factors. So what we did was we went growth factor by growth factor through the ones that are most important in repairing the scalp and repairing the amount of keratin that can be secreted, the circulation that's in the follicle, the number of hairs that come out per follicle. And there's specific growth factors that are responsible for a bunch of different things when it comes to healthy hair growth. And so what we did was we found each one of them. We concentrated them very intensely compared to, say, any of your other type of skincare creams, and then we wrapped them each individually. So Kerafactor MD, which is the product that you're going to use for the Keralase procedure, has a nice little applicator to allow you to deliver those growth factors right after you've created this laser microperforation, so to say. And then it's tons and tons of different highly concentrated growth factors. And what's unique about Kerafactor MD, which is really cool, is we were able to synthesize a growth factor or a protein called follistatin. And for people who know about this, you're probably already ahead of the game, but follistatin is really important because it happens to be one of the most important growth factors that is present during the growth phase of hair. So this is really cool because this is the first time that it's been synthesized in very high concentration as a topical bioavailable product. And we've been able to add some other features that I'm going to talk about on the next slide. So one thing that's critical about hair is to be able to have something that is working to grow better, stronger hair, so more hairs per follicle and thicker hair. But we also have to deal with the fact that there's inflammation. The fact that when somebody's losing their hair, there might be some excess DHT or excess DHT in cooperation with DHT sensitive follicles. And what we found was we found a compound that's natural, a natural compound. It's actually a derivative of turmeric called dimethylcurcumin or curcumin. And what we found was that by itself is a very powerful anti-androgen and a very powerful anti-inflammatory. The problem is that if you've ever worked with turmeric, if you ever cook, you'll notice that it stains your skin. So you have this very potent anti-androgen, but you can't use it in a high enough concentration because otherwise you'd end up with a yellow scalp. And so we put our laser caps on or our thinking caps on and went, what could we actually do in order to have something that gets the activation with the anti-inflammation, anti-androgenic properties, but doesn't stain the scalp. And of course, we have this beautiful low-level laser therapy device called the Healite that is in the red and infrared spectrum. That's already something that is used to improve circulation in the scalp. So it turns out that this what we call a nanofluorosome, you can see it in the UV over here, is a perfect 1-2 cooperation between being able to wrap the curcumin in a nanoliposome, put it into the scalp, have it at a concentration that it doesn't stain the scalp, but then we photoactivate it, just like photodynamic therapy. Very, very cool 1-2 punch. So this is putting it all together. So we've got a laser at the beginning, that's the LaserMD Ultra, that's creating the microperforations. Then we apply the Kerafactor MD serum. Then we take the Healite and we apply the Healite to activate the nanofluorosomes to get rid of that inflammation and get rid of the DHT that's in the scalp. And so we've got two lasers, a laser at the beginning and a laser at the end, and you've got your Kerafactor MD sandwiched in the middle. Now, we've done tests. This is a published paper, and the reason why I pull this one up is not that this is the generation of formula. This is actually the previous generation of formula that we didn't actually bring out in the Europe area, and we didn't get registered. We went straight to MD. Now, the key thing here is that this was just using the original, what we would call the OG Kerafactor formula, and even with the original formula, using the LaserMD Ultra as the skin penetration tool or scalp penetration tool, we were able to get around about a 20 to 30% increase in that hair mass, hair density metric. Now, I want to show you some new information where it's just using the Kerafactor MD with that 1-2 punch. So this is how dramatically different and more impressive the Kerafactor MD formula with the laser at the beginning and the Healite after can actually be. So this is a study that will be published, but this is some very early information. It's in follow-up right now. And you'll notice, just look at the dates here, you'll notice that this study was over a 4-month period of time. And we've got these large follow-up windows here where we're looking at 9 months later. And you can see that the hair mass has changed dramatically. Even at the midpoint, we're seeing higher increase in hair density, plus 42%. And you'll notice that that midpoint, the hair mass, which is calculating not just the number of hairs that come out, but the actual mass of the hair, the thickness of the hair, is actually only about 8%. But it drastically changes when you get to the follow-up because all of those little hairs that are just poking out in the midpoint, they eventually grow all the way out, and then you get this massive change to the hair mass, over 100% change. That's double the amount of hair mass, which is significantly more than previously done. So what happened in this particular trial is we used the Ultra, we create the microperforations, then we did the Kerafactor MD, and then we used the Healite straight after. And here's some before and after photos. So this is on an African American scalp, which is traditionally very difficult to treat. Here we have just a lady that's got thinning hair. So this is just general thinness, and you've seen a repair to that only after 2 of the Keralase procedures. Here's a kind of progression, and I'll show you the next slide. So this is 6 Keralase treatments, they're a month apart. So again, Ultra with the MD formula, and then using the Healite right after. That's the protocol. And you can see how dramatic, again, time is your friend. So the more you can space the treatments out and the longer you wait, the higher the density will be, because you're giving time for the hair to grow through. So you can't just look at it out a couple of months, because at a couple of months, the hairs are just poking out of the scalp. So you got to wait for those hairs to grow all the way out, and that's when you see the maximum amount of change in hair density. And you're going to see that anywhere between 3 and 6 months post those 6 treatments. So if you can space them out a month, that means that it's kind of treating over the entire year, and that's when you're going to see some impressive results, especially like what you see in this male patient. And again, here, this is a very tough patient to treat. She had been treated with everything. She was part of this Zeering trial that we did in Beverly Hills, where we did 4 Keralase treatments a month apart. And here you can see with the red light therapy, which is your heel light, the cooperation of using the Laser MD as the perforation tool, delivering the Care Factor MD, then adding the heel light to activate the nanofluorosome. And I personally believe that this particular patient being able to get rid of the inflammation in her scalp was one of the primary reasons why she got a result, and she didn't respond to other therapies. So this is really, yes, you see the hair thickness, yes, you see the hair mass increase, but that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't got the inflammation out of the scalp. And so that's really that uniqueness of that nanofluorosome in cooperation with the heel light, which is that second mechanism that we're using to create the ultimate, hair and scalp procedure, which is what Keralase is. So that's just a little bit about Keralase and the powerful Care Factor MD, and being able to use 2 of the Lutronic devices, the Laser MD Ultra, using the Care Factor MD with the heel light, putting it all together, creating a significant change in patient scalps, around 70 to 100% change. That's 3 to 4 times what we've used in the past, and it's really showing drastically visible results in a very short period of time when you think about it. Only a few months to start to see the results, and up to 6 months to see the full results. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know you're going to have some further discussion, and you're going to be able to see a treatment. I wish you all the best, and I'm very happy to have Ceradome as our partner to launch Keralase for all of you. So thank you very much.